Hello guys, today we are making conkies. Woo! Okay, don't know why I did that. But they are amazing and it is very popular in a lot of the Caribbean islands. I know in Barbados they have their own variation. But today I will teach you how we make them in Guyana. So I want you to follow me along this journey as I break down everything to you. And at the end of the video, I want you guys to comment and let me know what you think. But just before we start, I need you guys to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Now, let's go. Okay, so for the conkies, I will be using about 400 grams of pumpkin. So this is pumpkin which I've peeled, washed, and grated. A small to medium sized coconut. 1 cup of sugar. 1 cup of cornmeal. A 1/4 cup of self-raising flour, 200 grams of butter or margarine you can use, some ground ginger, fresh ginger, 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence, and this is the clear vanilla essence. You can also use vanilla extract, vanilla bean paste if you would like. Just adjust towards your liking. This is 1 teaspoon of salt. And in here, I've basically made like a spice mix. So it is 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of mixed spice, and also 1/4 teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. So with these spices and the fresh ginger, it's kind of like if I've basically done like a pumpkin spice. But that it includes fresh ginger and it doesn't have in the maize. So yeah. So this is all the ingredients that I will be using for this recipe, and then I'll just show you what we do next. In the coconut, and I'll just give this a good mix. So now this is where we get our hands dirty. And we just mix the pumpkin and the coconut together. So we're just giving it a good mix. And you just combine everything. I like coconut, so I've added a fair amount of coconut. But you can use about 1 cup of grated coconut, fresh coconut. You want to avoid using the disintegrated coconut because it doesn't really have that much flavor and it also loses a lot of its moisture. So now to this, I'm going to add the butter, or you can also use margarine. So that's 200 grams in which I've weighed out, and I'm just going to mix this in. You just want to mix everything thoroughly together. Give it a good mix. And this also helps with the consistency. Makes it very mellow, as we would say. So now you've given that a good mix. I'm now going to add the freshly ground or grated ginger. You can also substitute this for ginger powder, but I just love the smell and the taste of fresh ginger. Traditionally, it's not something that a lot of people use or add to conkies, but I just personally like it, and I think it gives it like a very good flavor. So now that I've added that ginger, just gonna continue just adding the ingredients. There is no specific order in how you can do this. You can just do it as you go along. So I'm just gonna add the spice mix and just continue to mix that and combine everything, because you want everything. I'm using my hands because I want everything to be mixed properly. You can use a spoon It's just personal preference. Sometimes, you know, you just need to get down and dirty in the kitchen. Now I'm gonna add the salt. I am adding 1 teaspoon of salt, which to some might seem like a lot. But I like mine to be not too sweet, not too savory. I think I like to have a balance between that salty and sweetness, because you are adding also a good amount of sugar. But some people like this to be super sweet, so you can add a bit less depending on what your diet allows you to. So now that that's all mixed in together nicely, we're gonna add our sugar. Now you can, this is a cup of granulated sugar, but you can use about 3/4 of a cup or even half a cup, because you can, just depends on how much sweet you are able to consume and how much. But I think this will be a perfect mix for this with the coconut, because when I grate the coconut, I kind of taste it like, I think if you grew up around coconut and did the coconut, you can see some are naturally sweeter than some. Okay, and now I am going to add the cornmeal. And I am using coarse cornmeal. You can use the fine one, but I'm adding this to help add to the texture. And cornmeal, when it cooks, it expands. So, and with the cornmeal necessarily, some people do not add a bit of flour to it, because the cornmeal also works as a thickening agent. So it will help it to be able to just stick everything, to help everything hold together as you steam these. You can steam them or boil them, which today I will be boiling them. And now I am adding the self-raising flour. And why I am adding this is because I find it adds a bit more body to the conkies, but you don't want to add too much, because you don't want to feel like you're eating like a steamed or boiled pumpkin pudding or pumpkin cake. So you just want enough to help. And I use the self-raising flour because obviously it has a bit of rising agent in it. So it's going to give it a really good texture, really good lift to it. So it's not going to be too stodgy, and like some people might be a bit stodgy and stuff. So no, it gives it a bit of lift to it. It helps it to be a bit light and nice. So now that is completely mixed and everything's is mixed in properly. So now I'm just gonna wash my hands and clear down the counters, and then we will go over the next step. So we are gonna wrap the conkies now. Traditionally it is done in banana leaf, but where I live it's hard to get a hold of banana leaves, but that should never stop you from basically having something you enjoy. So you make substitutes. So we will be using foil paper. So I'm using like a strong foil paper, because you don't want to use the ones which are too cheap or too flimsy, because by the time it's in the water, all the water's leaked into the conkies and stuff. Which ideally, if you're doing it in banana leaf, sometimes that happens, but it doesn't really affect it as much. But you want to keep them as secure as possible. So it'll be kind of like if you are, when you're wrapping them, it's kind of like if you're doing like tamales, dokna, or stuff which are like, to me, like different variations of the conkies, but just adapted differently to different traditions and styles, because they're all wrapped and steamed. And start with like a soft dough mixture kinda. No, never mind, it's not really a dough, but yeah. So what I'm gonna do is just add a bit of conky to the foil paper, the conky mix. And I'm gonna just bring both ends up. And then just fold. And then I'm just gonna keep folding until I reach the mixture. And then I'm just gonna flatten the sides. And then I'm just gonna fold those in. And there you go. There you have it. So I've wrapped one of these. I have a dish here, which I'll just put that in. Okay, so I'll just show you this one more time. So you get your foil or your banana leaf. If you have your banana leaf, you can basically put it over a fire, which will help it become more pliable. Or some people might pour some boiling hot water on it. But this allows us to skip a lot of the process. So just gonna put a good amount. Well, I'm not putting too much of the mixture in here. And then we bring both sides together equally. And then we just start folding. And you're just folding it down. And fold. And you press that down. And then we just fold in the edges. Keep it as tight as possible. You can always just press it out a bit. And there we go. So I'm just gonna wrap the rest of these and then I'll guide you through the next process. Okay guys, so now I've completely finished portioning off the conkies and wrap them in foil. I've put a pot of water on the stove to boil, and all I just need to do is to add these to that boiling water, allow it to cook for 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes longer depending on the size. What you will be checking for is the firmness. So as it cooks, it becomes more firm. So if it still feels like super soft, it needs to boil a bit more. Sometimes it will take about an hour and a half, and kind of pushing it 2 hours max, but sometimes it'll just take about 45 minutes to an hour to get it done, to hour and a half. So I'm about to do that, and then I'll show you the rest, and then obviously let you see what it looks like once that is completed. Yes, so as you can see, the water is boiling. So I'm just gonna put these into the water. Okay, and that's why we use the big pot. So I'm just gonna cover this and let it cook for 45 minutes to an hour. So the conkies are finished now. So I'm just gonna open it so you guys can see what it looks like. Just gonna tear here and just open the foil. Now you can see that it's all come together lovely, and it is all super soft. I'm just gonna cut this so you can see the consistency, and look how lovely that cut. So now if you have a look, you can see that is all well cooked through, but everything's together, and look at that. Just lovely. So I'm just gonna have a taste. Okay, that's beautiful. And it's the perfect balance of sweetness and salt. So the sugar and the salt, that just perfectly balances each other out. It does have the airy texture that I wanted. So it's not very stodgy. It's very light. Because of that little bit of self-rising flour that we've put in there with the raisin agent. And this is beautiful. So I want you guys to try this recipe and let me know what you think. So just leave a comment in the comment section. If you've tried the recipe, let me know. Or you can share some of your recipes and what you do, because I know some people, they put in like raisins or currants in their conkies, but traditionally in Guyana we do not. So that's why this one is more so on the plain side, because I know with Barbados sometimes they put in potatoes, like sweet potatoes, in their conkies. So it's like different variations you can have with this recipe. And you can just play around with it a bit just to find the perfect balance that suit your palate. But thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.